Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live at 4. Mark is on vacation. Charlotte Deleste is helping out this afternoon. Thanks for your help.
My pleasure.
Mark is going on a cruise. He's going to be gone for 2 weeks.
I know. Well, it is that
so
time of
jealous.
year.
Yes.
We all know that Mark does this. So
That's right. He'll be back on Christmas Eve, and I think I saw on Facebook that he's arriving in Florida as we speak.
Nice.
Just in time for the big chill. We'll have more on that in just a little bit. But here's what's making news on this Thursday. An 8-year-old child was left with a babysitter. Now that 17-year-old babysitter is being charged with assaulting the boy. Our Jamie Perez will have the story from Reedsburg.
A 70-mile train ride across Texas is bringing President Bush to his final resting place.
And the lame duck session at the Capitol is now over, so what happens next? Our Rose Schmidt explains how it could all end up in the courts. Let's take a look outside today. It was nice to see the sun. Not too bad this afternoon, but
I just remember where did I put my sunglasses?
yeah, exactly. Look at that beautiful blue sky. That was nice to see. But we're going to go off the cliff here. Even colder are the weather words. And Dana Fulton is out on the weather patio. Hi, Dana.
Hey, it is cold outside right now. I can definitely say that. But yes, it is about to get even colder for us as we get into Friday, especially tomorrow morning. We do have an alert day in the forecast because of the temperatures for Friday. A lot of sunshine right now. Sunset is still just a few minutes away. Not a whole lot of color in the sky either, because we don't have the clouds. Our Doppler track showing a few flurries up into central Wisconsin. Towards La Crosse right now, they're seeing some light snowfall, but much of the area is calm. Not even, again, clouds in the sky to bring that flurry chance. We're at 22 right now in Madison, 25 in Monroe, and 27 in Janesville, and we are going to continue to fall overnight quite rapidly with a breeze coming from the northwest. That cool air moving in will help our temperatures fall into the lonely single digits for tomorrow morning. Through the next few hours, plan on being in the teens. If you do have any evening plans, you'll definitely want to bundle up, even if it's just a quick jog out to the car to grab something and then back inside. By tomorrow morning, yes, 9 degrees to start off the day. It is going to be cold. Afternoon highs will be in the teens. We'll take a closer look at what's ahead through this weekend in just a few minutes. Right now, I do want to bounce onto the roadways with a first alert traffic update. Much of Dane County looks okay right now up towards Sun Prairie. Not seeing any sort of major delays along the roads. Should be fairly smooth in that direction. Towards 51 there, north and southbound, both a little slower, just north of the Beltline. The Beltline around 39 looks okay. Gets a little slower, though, from John Nolan Drive towards Fish Hatchery Road, also a little slow. And in Janesville right now, good news. Everything downtown looks fairly smooth, and then 39 also looks okay towards Janesville. So everyone on the roads is okay, but again, it is going to be cold outside as we head into Friday. We will talk about the wind chill potential coming into tomorrow morning in just a few minutes.
All right, Dana, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dana. First at 4, a 17-year-old boy in Reedsburg was arrested for sexually assaulting an 8-year-old child that he was babysitting.
The victim's parents reported the incident to police. Riley Roth is in jail on a $25,000 cash bond. Jamie Perez is in Reedsburg, and she joins us now with more details surrounding this incident. Jamie?
Right. Well, many questions still remain unanswered, and that's to protect the victim's identity. But we were able to speak with police today to get some of those questions answered for you. Now, police tell me that sexual assault happened or they were notified on November 28th, and Riley Roth was arrested on the 30th. Now, the 8-year-old victim reported being sexually assaulted several times between November 4th and the 18th. The victim reported being tied up and gagged at the child's home. Police tell me that child and Roth were not family members and weren't exactly sure how the family got in contact with Roth for babysitting services.
These things don't really happen very often here, so yeah, it's hard to hear, but again, I think it's important for people to understand that these things can happen anywhere, and they should do whatever they can to make sure that they're bringing the safest people they can into their homes.
Roth is charged with repeated acts of sexual assault of a child, false imprisonment, strangulation and suffocation, and physical abuse of a child, and also faces a bail jumping charge. Roth was also charged Wednesday with underage sexual activity with a child of 15 years old and obstructing an officer, and that happened back in September. Roth is scheduled to appear in court on December 28th for all charges.
Jamie Perez reporting live from Reedsburg. Jamie, thank you.
The body of former President George H.W. Bush has arrived in College Station, Texas. These are live pictures at Texas A&M University, where he will be buried. This comes after a 70-mile train ride to his final resting place here in Texas. The historic journey follows a private funeral service today in Houston. Mola Langi was there.
Tens of thousands lined the tracks, waiting in the rain for hours to salute an American patriot.
It's just an honor to be here. He served our country for so many years.
Train 4141 is taking President George Herbert Walker Bush to his final resting place in College Station, Texas.
It's happy because George Herbert Walker Bush gets to be with his wife, but it's sad because, well, we don't have him anymore.
The train's engine, unveiled in 2005 in Bush's honor, is painted in the colors of Air Force One. Mr. Bush specifically requested the funeral train procession leave from here in Houston, his adopted hometown. Earlier in the day, family and close friends filled St. Martin's Episcopal Church for a final farewell. Former Secretary of State James Baker eulogizing his best friend of 6 decades.
We rejoice, Mr. President, that you are safely tucked in now and through the ages with God's loving arms around you. Because our glory, George, was to have had you as our president and as such a friend.
Mr. Bush's oldest grandson reflected on his love of family.
In classic Gampy fashion, he'd write letters of encouragement to us all. If you need me, I'm here for you because I love you very much.
The nation's 41st president will be buried next to his beloved wife, Barbara, and their daughter, Robin, at the Bush Presidential Library and Museum at Texas A&M University. Mola Langi, CBS News, Houston.
21 Navy fighter jets will pay tribute to President Bush from above now that the train has arrived in College Station.
2 pilots of an F-18 and 5 crew members aboard a KC-130 tanker plane crashed off the coast of Japan during a training exercise. 1 Marine has been confirmed dead, 1 has been rescued, and 5 remain missing. Rescuers are searching in the Sea of Japan. The planes crashed after a refueling exercise like this one. The incident happened about 200 miles from the American base where both planes are stationed.
My heart goes out to the families and the colleagues of the Marines that are involved in this tragedy.
My thoughts and prayers are with the Marine Corps crew members who were involved in a mid-air collision off the coast of Japan. Thank you to U.S. Forces Japan for their immediate response and rescue efforts. More than 50,000 U.S. troops are based in Japan under a bilateral security pact.
A Southwest Airlines flight arriving at Burbank Airport skidded off the runway after landing there this morning. The jet was stopped by the airport's engineered material arresting system, which is designed to stop an aircraft that goes off the end of a runway. The flight had 117 passengers on board. There were no reported injuries. We are still waiting to find out whether Governor Walker will sign bills the full legislature cleared this week as part of a marathon extraordinary session.
Governor-elect Tony Evers is urging him to veto them, but what if that doesn't happen? Rose Schmidt sat down with 2 political science experts and explains what they think will happen next. Rose?
Yes, well, those 2 experts agree that if Walker signs these bills, it will almost certainly end in litigation. There are questions, though, about who the courts would side with. Governor-elect Tony Evers told reporters yesterday that he would do whatever was necessary to make sure the GOP bills did not pass, including litigation. The bills would strip certain powers from the governor and attorney general. 2 political science professors told me the measure placing limits on early voting could be more easily contested in court than the bill stripping powers from the governor and attorney general. But it's still up in the air at this point.
It depends a lot on how the Wisconsin Constitution will be interpreted by the state Supreme Court. But there's precedent from both earlier Wisconsin case law and from other situations, like in North Carolina has gone through a very similar thing the last 2 years, where their state Supreme Court has struck down several attempts to limit the governor's powers on separation of powers grounds.
Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Vos says the bills were reviewed by legal experts and he's confident that they are constitutional, but he says Democrats have the right to contest them. Professor Cannon tells me that it's unclear whether Evers and Call would be filing joint lawsuits or if there would be several lawsuits, but we know that They would likely be suing the state assembly, state senate, or both, and lawsuits could be drawn out over several years. But remember, we're still waiting to find out whether Governor Walker signs the bills or if he vetoes them.
We'll continue to follow it. Thank you, Rose.
Wisconsin retailer Shopko is closing 39 stores in 19 states, including one in Wisconsin. The Green Bay area department store chain operates about 360 stores in 24 states. The Wisconsin one that is to be closed is in Boston. A Shopko spokesperson says the closures were dictated by the long-term outlook on profitability, sales trends, and growth potential.
A new study shows global emissions of carbon dioxide have reached a record high. Countries are releasing more greenhouse gases than ever before. Scientists say more than 37 billion tons of planet-warming emissions have been released into the atmosphere this year. The stark findings come as leaders from nearly 200 nations meet in Poland to decide how to meet the goals of the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement, which was aimed at stopping flooding, heat waves, and rising sea levels.
There's been a significant change made at the New York Stock Exchange this year.
In fact, it's being called history making. We'll share that story when Live at 4 continues. "2018 saw a change in leadership at the New York Stock Exchange. For the first time in 226 years, a woman is leading the exchange."
That's a really long time. As Diane King Hall reports, it comes at a time when the market is experiencing incredible volatility.
we have to be ready for the markets to go up and down.
Stacey Cunningham is charting a new course through volatile U.S. financial markets, making history in May when she became the first female president of the New York Stock Exchange.
So there's a lot happening in the market. So stepping in, there was no entry point, right? We were really coming in with the markets running.
She got the top job just as Wall Street started showing signs of fresh volatility following almost 10 straight years of growth. This week, the Dow tumbled more than 1,000 points with investors jittery about Trump administration tariffs and trade talks with China.
The market consumes news so much more rapidly. So when news comes out, investors everywhere are able to get to it.
On the exchange floor, the reaction to Cunningham has been positive.
She knows everybody, everybody knows her. She's one of us. I mean, she's not here 42 years like me, but everybody knows who she is.
A symbol of female empowerment will soon join Cunningham. The popular Fearless Girl statue, who appeared in 2017 staring down the charging bronze bull, is moving to a new home by the New York Stock Exchange.
We've seen hundreds of women be added to corporate boards. So that's a progress, and that's something that she's really an emblem for. To have her outside the New York Stock Exchange was a wonderful message for the world to see.
Like the Fearless Girl, Cunningham has a story that inspires. One of 6 children, she went from NYSE intern to trader to the top.
I think if you follow your passions and try to figure out how you can reach a common goal for whatever organization you're part of that you believe in, you're going to be successful.
Cunningham's ability to do that and more just landed her on Forbes' list of the world's most powerful women. Diane King Hall, CBS News at the New York Stock Exchange.
And she had some issues to face today as stocks tumbled once again, knocking 79 points off the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The arrest of a senior Chinese technology executive threatened to worsen trade tensions between the U.S. and China. Traders continue to shovel money into bonds, a signal that they see weakness in the economy ahead. The Nasdaq gained almost 30, the S&P 500 lost 4.
It is almost the weekend in the 6:08.
We're getting there, and here with a look at what's going on around town is Madison Magazine Associate Editor Joel Patnod. Hi, Joel. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
It's the holiday season. We're going to start with a little holiday music.
Yeah, and there's no shortage of it.
Yeah.
I must have included 6 Christmas concerts just in the blog for Weekend 608 at madisonmagazine.com. But I think I'd like to highlight a couple. This weekend, I'd say the first is Winter Song at the Barrymore Theater. This is Friday night. Every holiday season since 2012, local folk musicians have come together, and this time, as usual, it will be hosted by Anna Vogelzang. She's a former Madison resident, now in LA, but she's coming back to host, and she'll be joined by several other local musicians, including Lost Lake, Josh Hardy, and Madison Malone. And then on Saturday night, there's a funky Christmas at the Majestic, and that is being led by a local 8-piece soul band called Don't Mess with Cupid, sorry. And they played James Brown and Otis Redding, and they were both known for their covers of Christmas music. I think James Brown alone had a double album's worth of pretty groovy.
You know what?
Christmas
I think a top-notch teacher is in this band too.
No
1 or 2 top-notch teachers.
Oh, that's great!
As part of their side jobs.
Oh,
But they love
wonderful.
it so much. That's really cool.
Yeah, well, that should be a really great show on Saturday night.
And then there's a little bit more traditional stuff, I suppose, right?
Yeah, well, there's a stage production in Monona at the Nathaniel Dean House. This is A World Christmas in a Victorian Parlor. And now, this is a play, but it combines selections from A Wind in the Willows, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Gift of the Magi, and A Child's Christmas in Wales. So that sounds like a really fun, family-friendly option. And they will be performing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights at 7, and then there's a matinee on Saturday at 2.
Well, that's great. What if you want to detax a little bit from all this Christmas-themed entertainment?
Yeah, you just want to be like, no
Before
more.
Christmas even comes? Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can't guarantee that carols won't be sung, but at least at the Jason Mraz and Toca Rivera show at the Orpheum, it's not being billed as a Christmas show. And Mraz is the pop singer-songwriter, Grammy Award winner, who's here, or will be here for an acoustic show with his longtime percussionist, and they'll be playing music from their 6th album, so that should be good too.
That is going to be great. All right, so sometimes you just need a good laugh.
Indeed. And again, I think Dana Gould is someone, if he's going to bring up Christmas at all, it's going to be in an irreverent way. And Dana Gould has had a long comedy career. He's an impressionist, a writer, but also a stand-up comic, and he's been on The Simpsons, The Family Guy, even Seinfeld. So he's booked from tonight through Saturday, but I just looked this up before I came, and the only shows that tickets are still available for are tonight at 8:30, and then the late show on Saturday at 10:30.
And the show is where?
Oh, this is Comedy on State.
Comedy on State. Yep. Okay, great. Wow. Good to know. All right, thank you, Joel.
Sure.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
And you can read much more about all of the things Joel recommended in the current issue of Madison Magazine.
Well, we might be in the midst of the holiday season, but the start of Hollywood's awards season is just beginning.
The Golden Globe nominations were announced this morning. We'll find out who got the nod when Live at 4 continues.
Take a look at this. People come to the rescue of a fawn trapped in a wrought iron fence, and not once but twice in the same day. After freeing the deer once, it got trapped again, and this time the Utah Division of Wildlife uses a jack in the fence to create more space and pull it free. The rescuers then carry the young animal a few hundred yards away to the foothills where they spot more deer in the distance. The fawn eventually jumped and ran off to join the group.
Just like a little kid,
I know,
you know what I mean?
Hey, wait for me.
Oh, that's so cute.
It is December 6th. It is St. Nicholas Day. It celebrates the 3rd century saint who sold all his possessions and gave his money to the poor. And there are several legendary stories about St. Nick, which later becomes part of the inspiration for what we know as the modern day Santa Claus.
Now, do you celebrate St. Nicholas Day with your boys?
Yeah, well, my neighbors do.
Oh,
okay. They have a key. And I know my kids are not listening, and they come in, and every year there are bags underneath the Christmas tree with each of their names on it from St. Nick.
Wow, you've got great neighbors.
I do have fantastic neighbors.
Lucky. All right. It's also National Microwave Oven Day. They first came on the scene in the late 40s when an engineer was working with an active radar unit. They noticed a candy bar of the pocket melting, and it was
I don't think your microphone is on. Can we?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Want to just double check that? Okay.
I can. There we go.
There.
So Microwave Oven Day, that's what that was. Of course, when someone was working with a radar unit, that was the initial inspiration there, and it just kind of kicked into what we use every day.
Yeah,
I want to say I'm a good chef,
now?
but yeah, I'm all about my microwave.
And it is National Gazpacho Day, which is tomato-based vegetable soup that is traditionally served cold, so don't microwave it.
Everything
You
else.
can put it outside.
Yes, you can leave it outside. At this point,
it'll stay just fine.
It'll stay perfect. You'll have a freezy pot by tomorrow morning. It's going to be so cold outside. We do have an alert day in the forecast. Plan on quite a chilly Friday for us. We'll take a look right after the break. Welcome back, everyone. This highway, an absolute parking lot. Trucks at a standstill. This is one of California's busiest roadways. This portion of the I-5, which connects the Santa Clarita Valley to the San Joaquin Valley, it's vital for truckers to get through. Now, the roadway was brought to an absolute grinding halt this morning after just a little bit of snow fell in the area. For many hours, the highway was just a virtual parking lot. Trucks stopped on the interstate with absolutely nowhere to go. This is why I have emergency granola bars in my trunk, and I try to explain to my family this is why. Apparently, Hopefully some of those truckers had some snacks because they were there for a long, long time. Even colder weather expected for us here. Of course, a little bit of snowfall is not going to lock the belt line up anytime soon, but it is going to be quite chilly outside tomorrow, especially with our wind chills factored in for the morning. The weekend, though, looks quite seasonal as far as the temperatures, and then we are going to see a little bit of sunshine just hanging out with us as we look through the rest of the forecast. In our central portion of the state, we do have some light snowfall and flurries towards La Crosse right now, but much of the Doppler track fairly calm. We did have quite a bit of sun today. That was a nice change of pace to get the sun back in the forecast. This cold front slowly sinking on through. Behind it, high pressure is going to keep us very cold but clear through the weekend. Again, part of the reason we're going to be so cold is that clearing sky overnight, and also with the wind factored in. Our wind chills will be very frigid heading into tomorrow morning, or dropping us quite a bit. Heading into tomorrow morning, again with that clearing sky, temperatures will drop into the single digits all alone. No other numbers beside them. Throughout the afternoon, we barely climb through the teens. It will stay cold for us throughout the day. Into Saturday, we get a little more seasonal. It won't be quite as cold. Temps will be close to 10 overnight into Saturday morning, and then by Saturday afternoon, plan on being in the mid to upper 20s. So again, that alert day is in the forecast for tomorrow because our temperatures will be in the single digits and our wind chills will drop us anywhere from 0 to -10. And then even as we get into the afternoon, high temps will barely be in the teens, with wind chills still a factor for us later in the day. So certainly a day that you'll want to bundle up if you're out early in the morning. Now, we haven't been with single-digit temperatures for our overnight lows since February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. So, of course, Dave, our friend, naming this graphic, living single with the single digits. 296 days in between the last time that we saw single-digit temperatures. It was all the way back in February. I know we've had a few very cold days since then, if we go back to March or even April. But we haven't been in the single digits for that long of a time. Overall, December, our trend, we've had a few days there above average, and we dropped below average, of course, on the 4th. And then as we look through the rest of the week, it does look like we're going to continue to stay below average for us. As temperatures tomorrow, even as they drop into the single digits, when you factor in just a little bit of a breeze, it starts to, of course, bump our wind chills down even more. Just a breeze anywhere in that 8 to 12 mile per hour range. It'll feel like we're closer to -4 to even -10 degrees for tomorrow morning. It's going to be cold. Sunset was nice and pretty, not too many colors, but just enough clouds in the sky to give us a little bit of color. Overall today we hit a high of 30. We should have been at 33, overnight low in the teens. That's really where we should have started the morning as far as average goes. 6 degrees is what we're looking at overnight. It will become mostly clear for us tomorrow. Again, right now, just a few clouds. Not expecting anything else to move on in overnight. Our wind chills will be anywhere from 0 to -10. Very cold outside. Have I said it enough at this point? Tomorrow, plan on being in the upper teens for afternoon highs. Still quite chilly outside with a mostly sunny sky, but don't let the sun deceive you. If you're inside, the sun is fine. If you like the sunbeams coming in, you'll be okay. The sunshine trend hangs out with us for much of the weekend and into the start of next week. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 20s. After we get through Friday's chill, we'll steadily warm up, thankfully, through the weekend and into the start of next week. Overnight lows, though, will stay quite chilly. Now, we'll start to get closer to average by the middle of next week, but that is going to bring about our next opportunity for some moisture. Right now, it looks like we're going to be dealing with more of a mixed chance, but if temperatures continue to stay on the cooler side of things, we could be talking about more of a snow event rather than just a messy mixed event.
But all in all, it looks pretty quiet. No big snow anywhere in the near future.
Not at all. We have several days of just making sure we stay bundled up, not necessarily needing to clean anything up outside, just layers on layers.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana. Well, Oscar season is heating up with the announcement this morning of this year's Golden Globe nominations.
Leading the pack, a movie about a former vice president, Dick Cheney. Chris Martinez has a wrap-up from Los Angeles.
If we came to a barely recognizable Christian Bale received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor Thursday for his portrayal of Dick Cheney in the biopic Vice. The movie earned the most nominations with 6, including Best Comedy and a Best Supporting Actor nod for Sam Rockwell as George W. Bush. Vice will compete against Mary Poppins Returns, Crazy Rich Asians, the period piece The Favorite, and the interracial road trip movie Green Book. Both The Favorite and Green Book received 5 nominations.
From the shallow
The remake of A Star is Born also earned 5 nods. Bradley Cooper received 2 for Best Actor and Best Director, and Lady Gaga received 2 for Best Actress and Best Original Song. The movie itself was nominated for Best Drama. It will compete in the Best Drama category against another musical, Bohemian Rhapsody. The Queen biopic also earned a Best Actor nomination for Rami Malek's portrayal of legendary frontman Freddie Mercury. Rounding out the Best Drama category, If Beale Street Could Talk, from the director of Moonlight, the blockbuster Black Panther, and Spike Lee's Black Klansman.
Versace.
On the television side, Ryan Murphy's American Crime Story, The Assassination of Gianni Versace, led with 4 nominations, including Best Limited Series or Movie. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Candice Bergen scored a nomination for Best Actress in a Comedy Series for Murphy Brown.
Actress Sandra Oh and comedian Andy Samberg will co-host the Golden Globes on January 6th.
Next, we have some holiday advice.
A timely warning about what could happen this time of the year.
A warning from government safety advocates about the dangers of Christmas trees. I'm Kenneth Craig with what you can do to make sure your home and your tree don't end up like this.
That is a live picture of the sun setting on this Thursday afternoon. Boy, is that pretty. Isn't
It
that
is gorgeous.
Beautiful look over Lake Mendota. Christmas trees, holiday lights, and festive candles are very popular in homes this time of the year around the country.
But some of those decorations can also lead to a disaster. Kenneth Craig explains.
This demonstration from the Consumer Product Safety Commission shows how one simple step can save your home. The Christmas tree on the left has been watered regularly. It's set on fire, but after 30 seconds, it eventually smolders out. The tree on the right hasn't been watered and is dry. The flames spread quickly. In 10 seconds, the ceiling catches fire, and soon the entire room is engulfed in flames. But it's horrifying to watch how quickly it happens.
It's pretty profound, and I think it really brings home the message how important it is to keep your tree watered throughout the holiday season.
Last year, a neighbor captured video of this home near Chicago. The fire reportedly started with the Christmas tree. Everyone escaped, but there were injuries. Candles can also be hazardous. In this demonstration, a misplaced candle on a menorah ignites the curtains and creates a dangerous fire. Christmas trees and candles are involved in hundreds of fires every holiday season. The Consumer Product Safety Commission estimates about 20 people are killed every year. Experts say it's important to keep candles in a sturdy and safe place.
Keep it away from any curtain, anything that can burn, and certainly if you have children or pets, young children, keep that away from them as well.
Christmas trees also need to be kept away from space heaters and anything flammable. And it's important to check lights for frayed wires and loose sockets. That can help prevent a tragedy from occurring this holiday season. Kenneth Craig for WISC News 3.
Yikes, that video is shocking.
It is. Some 18,000 people actually went to the ER during the last holiday season from injuries that occurred while decorating.
Many involved people falling off ladders from setting up lights and other displays. I worry about my cat. My cat is chewing on the Christmas tree lights. And that seems like a disaster waiting to happen too.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
That's scary.
Yeah. When we come back, some people unfortunately are looking at a blue Christmas.
72% of people say they feel stressed during the holidays. The season can be even tougher for those living with mental illness or experiencing loss. We'll get some expert advice on how to cope when Live at 4 continues.
The sun is set, so you probably don't need the shades, but things are starting to slow down, unfortunately, a little bit for us. Looking at 12 right at Park Street, you can see there starting to see a little more traffic than what we were about 20 minutes ago. Much of Dane County still green. Looking up towards Sun Prairie right now, a lot of green in that direction. No slowdowns or complaints. 51 southbound, seeing a little bit of a delay there. Northbound seems to be cruising along just fine. The Beltline heading towards 39, also okay. And then, of course, the Beltline, as you get a little closer to downtown, not as okay. From Fish Hatchery Road to John Nolan Drive, speeds reduced to, we're averaging 24, 22, 20 miles an hour, so a little slower than what we would like to see. And then down near Janesville very quickly, also getting a lot of green from a bunch of the downtown area right now. A few slowdowns there right as you get closer to downtown, but overall no accidents to report. Should have a fairly smooth drive wherever you may be.
Chandler, Arizona police have just released the video of a man and woman crashing a stolen car into a store, then stealing almost 24 handguns. The video shows the car plowing right through the front entrance. The couple shattered glass cases and stole 21 handguns, but then the caper went awry. They couldn't back their car out of the store through all of that debris. So they ran off, stole another car, but they were eventually caught.
Yikes.
At this time of year, the expectations for merriment and joy are rather high.
Yeah, that's right. But the holiday season can be very difficult, especially for those dealing with sadness or loss. Dr. Monica Roots is a Madison psychiatrist, and she is also a telepsychiatrist. Welcome to Live at 4. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Dr. Roots, what does that mean, a telepsychiatrist?
A telepsychiatrist is our opportunity to be able to see individuals who need help, any form. So they might be having a stressor, anxiety, depression. They can see a psychiatrist, they could see a therapist, and have ongoing care via phone or video.
Wow, so you can just do it right in the comfort of your own home.
Correct, and sometimes we actually find it's even more helpful because people are really comfortable in the space of their own home and they tend to open up more.
That's amazing. Okay, so now let's get back to the holidays are here, and it really is hustle and bustle, and it can create a lot of stuff.
Yes, it's a time of year where either people feel very overwhelmed or they can actually feel more lonely. Unfortunately, some people say that over 66% will experience what they call the holiday blues, let alone the people who are 1 in 4 who have a mental illness.
Oh yeah, those are kind of daunting statistics, and I would think that is social media playing a role in this, because whenever you go on Instagram or Facebook, it looks like everyone's holidays are perfect, everyone's families are perfect. Does that contribute to struggles during the holiday season?
I think that we forget, it's probably about 80 pictures that got to that one perfect picture that the person put on social media. So I think it's really important to take that with a grain of salt, to realize, everybody is probably pretty stressed during this time. It's a moment to maybe get off of social media and connect with people around you.
What about, we talked about expectations. I think that people place too much great expectations on themselves.
I agree.
Right? You
feel guilty too.
Yeah, you have the, oh, I need to get these gifts, if you have a list even ready, or you're gonna have a party with family and you gotta get the food. There's just so much of that.
Right, there's so many times, right, in this life where we get overwhelmed. Everybody is busy in their daily life, and then we add Christmas holidays, shopping, all of those things on top, and we don't necessarily plan for it. So I think it's really important to have a list of maybe 5 goals that you want to accomplish this holiday season. Do you want to send out cards? All right, let's pick a date when you're going to buy them. When are you going to complete them? When are you going to send them? It's a way of keeping yourself from scrambling at the end, which increases that anxiety and pressure that people put on themselves.
That's a very good idea. Is this time of the year especially dangerous for people who are already struggling with mental illness and already feeling a little vulnerable?
It's a time where people who have anxiety tend to feel more overwhelmed. People who might be reminiscing about a previous holiday might start to feel more lonely. It's a time where all of those risk factors really increase the symptoms people might be experiencing. So it's really important to think of ways that they can care for themselves to really get through the holidays.
What are some examples of, it has to be self-care, your loved ones can't do it for you.
Right.
You have to try to do it yourself, and that's a hard thing to do.
It is. So there's a couple of things that people can do. Just off the top of my head, one important skill that I think we could all use is learn how to say no.
There's a lot of power in that.
There
is,
yeah.
The problem with not saying no is that you become resentful. You become more overwhelmed, and then you kind of lose the purpose of the whole holiday spirit. The other thing is that we tend to kind of maybe have an extra alcoholic drink or eat that fatty food, and the next day we might feel more sluggish, we feel more slowed down. And this time of year, we're more at risk for seasonal affective disorder. That just feeds into it. And then it's also, of course, really important to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, take a break. Go listen to a song that you like. Go take a walk outside, even though it's cold. Get some sunlight. Do things that will make you feel better.
Those are all great examples, great advice. And maybe reach out for help too if you think you need a little extra support.
You know, the great thing about the holiday blues for most is that we will get over this. But if you feel like you need help, it's really important to reach out to your physician, even reach out to people who are loved ones, so that you can start to reach out for some companionship, connection, and maybe additional help if you need it.
All right, doctor, thank you very much. Happy holidays to you.
For you too.
Great to see you, Monica. Thank you for coming today.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. Here comes the big chill.
Big chill, our first drop since February. We haven't been in the single digits for a while. Tomorrow morning temperatures are expected to be close to 6 degrees in Madison. With that wind chill factored in, it'll feel below 0, so please bundle up. Tomorrow is an alert day because of the temperatures. Throughout the afternoon, we will barely climb into the upper teens. We should be in the mid-30s, so it's quite a drop from where our average temps are at, but we will see plenty of sunshine. Unfortunately, it's not really going to help us warm up much. It's just going to be a deceptive sunshine outside.
Oh, don't mess around with this cold.
Yes, it'll be quite chilly in the morning.
All right, thank you.
All right, Dana, thanks.
Tomorrow and live at 4, we get a visit from Tuba Christmas.
And we'll go behind the scenes of Madison West High School's production of The Curious Incident. That's backstage with Michael Bruno. And Lola's Lowdown covers animal stories from around the globe. That's all coming up tomorrow on the Friday edition of Live at 4.